reviewing for our test tomorrow. So if we take number 6, we're supposed to convert this into decimal, right? So I know I have 56 whole degrees. So if this were multiple choice, if any of the choices didn't have 56 whole, I would cross them out right away. So I know it's going to be 56 point something, right? I just got to fill in the rest. So what do I do with the 54 minutes? Does anybody remember? How do I turn that into a decimal? Yes, I do 54 divided by 60 and see what that spits out. 54 divided by 60 is 0.9. So I get 0.9 from that. But then I also need to incorporate 8 seconds. What do you do with the seconds? Yes, you divide it by 3600. And here's how it goes. This is 1/60th of a degree, and this is 1/60th of this, but since I'm trying to convert it into degrees, it's 1/60th of 1/60th. So it's actually 1 over 3600. That's why we divide this guy by 3600. So I'll just do, I don't know, I'll do it over here. 8 divided by 3600 gets me 0.002 repeating. So now basically I'm just going to add them all together. I'm going to take, I already have the 56 whole, I'm just going to do 0.9 plus this. So wouldn't that just get me 0.902 repeating? What number is that? 6? Why is... Oh, because they rounded to the nearest hundredth of a degree. Okay, so if I'm going to round to the nearest hundredth, there's tenths and hundredths. It just rounds off to... Does that make sense? Yeah. And my answer's in degrees, right? So, take your minutes divided by 60, take your seconds divided by 3600. Add it all together, round to whatever they tell you to round. Okay, so now let's try going the other way. They give you a decimal, now you want degrees, minutes, seconds. Anybody remember what to do? So again, I know I'm going to have 79 whole, but then what do you do with 0.02? Yes, you multiply it by 60. So 79 whole, and now I'll do 0.02 times 60. That gets me 1.2. So I'm here, but you're not allowed to have a decimal there either. So I know I have 1 whole minute, but now how do I take care of this 0.2? What'd you say? I do it again. I take that decimal and I times it by 60. So 0.2 times 60 gets me 12. So now this really converts to 79 whole degrees, 1 whole minute, and then 12 seconds. So yeah, to go with decimals, take whatever decimal you have, times it by 60. If you still have a decimal, take that decimal and times it by 60. If this number is just so happens to still be a decimal, we stop there. We only do it twice, and then we're just going to round that to the nearest whole. What else as you're glancing through? I sure can. Okay, so here's a calculator one. Make sure you're in the right mode, because I'm not going to remind you tomorrow. So, I want to do tangent of 180. That's 0. Plus, let's see, cosine of 180 is -1. And then I want to do -4 times whatever the sine of 270 is. So sine of 270 is -1. So if we evaluate this correctly, 0 plus -1 is obviously just -1, right? But now I have -4 times -1, that's +4. So I'm really doing -1 plus 4. So my final answer is 3 is correct.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Sure. What else could I answer for anybody? I have enough time to do 1 or 2 more. We're obviously not going to get to this review activity, but that's okay. Yes. Sure. 16 says, a tree casts a shadow of 15 feet at the same time that a yardstick casts a shadow of 15 inches. How tall is the tree? So we have a couple of things going on here. There's a lot of different units. So first, let's start off with a tree. Thank you. So there's my tree that casts a shadow of 15 feet. So we're going to turn our things into triangles. So there's my tree, 15 feet. Then I have a yardstick with a 15-inch shadow. So this is feet. You have to pick one unit and stick with it. So, what unit do we want to use? Feet? Probably. That makes sense. So, if my yardstick, so this is 1 yard, but how many feet is that? What'd you say? Yes, 3. 3 feet in a yard. So that's actually 3 feet right there. And then it says it had a shadow of 15 inches. How many feet is 15 inches? What would you do to find that number? 15. Turn 15 inches into a foot, you would, or feet. What'd you say? I think you were right, if I heard right. It is, so 3 inches is what decimal of a foot? It's a fourth. Isn't 3 inches a fourth of a foot? So it'd be 1 1/4, or 1.25. Anyway, now we're all in the same units, right? So all we have to do now is find out how tall the tree is. And we talked about how these are similar triangles, so I can just do x over 15 equals 3 over 1.25. And I should be able to solve for the height of the tree. So cross multiply 1.25x. 3 times 15 is 45, and then divide. I get 36 feet. And you wanted 17 too, did you say? Okay, 17. Find the values of the indicated trig functions for the angle theta and stand position having the given point on its terminal side. Okay, so -4, 3 is going to be somewhere like here. Draw my triangle. You're -4, you're 3. I need to solve for r, but you probably already know it. What must r be? If you're thinking 5, you are correct, right? Because it's just a 3, 4, 5 triangle. You can do Pythagorean theorem to figure that out, but the sooner you recognize 3, 4, 5 triangles, the way less work you'll have to do. So there's my x, y, and r. So now I should be able to find sine, cosine, tangent. I've got my handy reference sheet right here. So sine is y over r, so that's 3/5. Cosine is x over r, so that's -4/5. And then tangent would be y over x, so -3/4. And we should have it. Is there anything at all I could go over for anybody else?